Hello, hello. Systems United. What we're working on is some more Italy photographs. I've rescanned them. It's higher quality and everything. You can see it here. And yeah, so we'll be working on this. And let's get started. Okay, sorry, I had to get comfortable. Okay, here we go. Here we go for real. Now, I've already worked on this a little bit, so we'll be going to where I left off. But it's been a busy new year already. I've been getting these jobs doing negative scanning, and I want to turn it into like business of scanning, like other people's photographs and stuff and digitizing them. I already have the equipment and it's already what I do, so I'm hoping that it will be something that I do that will take off, because it would be great if I can like do it full time, but we'll see. And it's not just something out of the blue that I'm thinking about doing. I actually got insurance for it and everything. I'm just... Whoa. I need to go back home. I'm out of my normal state, so... Just waiting to get back home to do that. But yeah, for Christmas I went back to my house for a short time. Just, my doctor kind of not yelled at me. I got a strange phone call from my doctor's office, and I was like, this is weird. And they're like, you have to come in. And so I called him back, and I'm like, why do I have to come back in? And the person answering the phone was like, I don't know why they called you. So like they went like through the whole office to figure out why they called, and they're like, oh no, it's for your yearly physical. And I was like, oh, but I'm gonna be out of town till January. This was in 2023. And the lady was like, well, and then she just hung up. This isn't the person that answered the phone, this is the person saying why. I'm like, that's weird. that they would be that rude. Because I was like asking, is it something I have to do this second before insurance, you know, before insurance wouldn't cover it or something? But no, so I got back there January, and then I had like 4 or 5 days where I was gonna be in town. So I called them, and they were like, "Oh, well, your normal doctor's not there." So I actually switched doctors, but same office. So I had my old doctor I went to, and so I saw him. So we saw him, and he doesn't really talk. Like, I've checked the logs and everything, and like, so he bills, like, he talks to me for 20 minutes and stuff, but I've timed him before because this has been a bone of contention where he'll see me for like 30 seconds. He's like, this is done. And and so he'll see me for like 30 or 40 seconds, runs in, he's like, what do you need? And I say, oh, I need medicine refill. And he's like, and I'm like, wait, but I have these other issues. But so I went in knowing he was going to be like that. And so he did run blood tests, but it's just like the standard stuff. Anyway, so my blood test came back, and I get emailed it the second I get them back. And so it actually showed some stuff this time, because the year before we had been kind of watching my cholesterol and everything because it was like doing weird things. I'm vegetarian, and I'm allergic to gluten and stuff, so I can't eat fried food, and I don't eat that much cheese and stuff, but I do eat eggs. And anyway, last year my cholesterol was like noticeably high, but it wasn't like high. This time, like, there were a lot of issues. Like, triglycerides were high, the good cholesterol and bad cholesterol were high, and then some liver enzyme was really high. And I was like, oh, great. And then on top of that, my blood glucose was at 99. Now, once you get into 100, then you're pre-diabetic. And so I was like, what? So my body was like just joking with me. It's like, ha 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 ha. I'm not diabetic yet, but one more, whatever. Eat a candy bar and I will be. And I was like, oh, great. So then I'm doing research on liver issues, which I take some medications that affect the liver. It's not that they're supposed to affect the liver. It's like eventually they will affect your liver. And I was like, oh no, is it time for that already? So I've made changes to my diet. I haven't been streaming much since COVID started. Like, you guys don't understand. I used to be a machine. It was like 6 days a week, 6 days a week, consistently starting at 9 p.m. And then, doing a couple of hours. And then I was a caregiver for my grandmother. Then I did gardening and stuff as a side job. I essentially have a lot of little side jobs and everything. And then after COVID, I got COVID early on in January before they really told us anything about it. But yeah, so after COVID, things have been getting like it's difficult for me to stay up late. Um, Working at night has been difficult. My vision has been all funny. And like, so something hasn't been right for a long time. My one doctor said I have long COVID, which I believe, but I don't know. I've been texting and with friends and stuff, and I was like, man, after I eat, like I have no idea what my body wants. Food that used to, fill me up and make me feel good doesn't. It feels like my brain's having a meltdown, like major brain fog and everything. So these lab results came back and they said, okay, your liver is actually having issues keeping up. Your blood sugar is really weird. It's really weird for me because I don't eat that much candy or soda. Just because I always, whenever I ate soda and stuff, I would crash. It's like I feel good, I have energy and stuff, and then like essentially I get the munchies, but it would feel like I'm about to pass out. And so recently, like I would eat food and not feel full or anything or have, energy from it. So I would eat like an ice cream or something. Then I feel better. So that had been going on for about 3 months where like I legitimately, it wasn't so much a craving. I guess it kind of was like a craving, but it was like I would eat food and still be starving. And then I have Costco heads, these knockoff Haagen-Dazs. So I would eat one of those and then I'd feel fine. And I was like, this is really weird. So that went on for a little while. And so essentially I'm just changing my diet. I've been doing research and stuff because they were saying that like the liver doesn't show up in blood tests until it's like really having a problem, because like liver is pretty big and like it can take a beating. It filters everything out of the blood and stuff, and so by the time it's saying like, hey, I need help, it really needs help. So I've started taking like supplements and stuff that will help the liver, and I'm waiting to see the doctor again. But now that I know it's the liver, and that's why I'm having problems processing all food in general, not just sugar foods. I've changed my diet to like take out carbs completely because sugar really stresses the body. And I used to think that carbs, like complex carbs and everything, are okay for you, but like I've noticed now that I get really kind of like brain fogged and slowed down, even with complex carbs like whole not whole grains, but with like beans and stuff. Oh, hey, Gameplay Boys, good to see you. And thanks for the new follower. I'm sorry I didn't see it. I don't have alerts turned on right now. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So once again, thanks for following Maple Gates. This one's done. We have, I think it's like 99 that we're gonna not get done today, but yeah, so part of the reason why I was saying I've been sick since 2020 was because like I've been doing a lot of stuff trying to find a diet. Every time I ate, I got sick. I would break out in hives and everything. And so it kind of seemed like it didn't matter what I did. I would always get sick after eating. And so then I was having like a lot of like digestive tract issues. And so I finally got to see a gastroenterologist, and they did a colonoscopy, but the colonoscopy they couldn't find it just didn't work. So what he said they spent a long time trying to do the procedure and stuff, but everything was so like blocked that they couldn't do it. So I was like, ugh. Because before I had been like I had an ultrasound, and the ultrasound didn't work because there was air in my intestines, and ultrasound can't see through that. So like they were supposed to be looking at, all these different organs, and they only found like a piece of my pancreas and kidney. So that was unfortunate. And then I had a CAT scan, and that was like, okay, there's a blockage, but we can't see where. And so I was really hoping that with the colonoscopy, they'd be like, okay, we found it, this is what we need to do. But we didn't. So then for this past year, I've been on this medication called Linzess. And thank you. It gets better. So then I was on this medication. I felt great on it. And so I started eating everything again. But it seems like it came back. But yeah, so I'm going to go back to... there was this one diet I did before I got better. It's kind of like I got better and could eat food, and I just forgot about it. But essentially, the only good carb is a dead carb. Oh, you want me to turn it down? And so the only good carb is like a dead carb. And so I'm going back to like high fat and no sugar at all. And like carbs are a drug. Like no joke. Like I was going into withdrawal. My body was like, pasta, please. And like for the past couple of days, yeah, thank you. Yes, so the past couple of days, I have been feeling extremely well. I go cycling and stuff. I do like 3 or 4 miles and everything. But I had pasta today, and I thought, I didn't think anything of it, and it almost killed me. It was just, I don't know. I guess, see, I don't drink, so, but I guess it would be like getting drunk, where it's just like you have to stay awake, have to stay standing and everything. But but yeah. So I'm feeling better, and like I know what I have to do. Oh, I did not see it, but thank you. Yeah, I've been doing this for a while. There's not a lot of photography streamers so much on Twitch. Well, I've been doing this since. Oh, there's way more than I think. Okay. Well, yeah, it was just when I started on Twitch, photographers had a hard time because I don't know why. It was just people didn't really like watching them that much. Like I started in 2016. That's when I first started doing photography streams. Thank you very much. I will check out the link. I always like meeting new artists. I'm trying to get these done because I do visual audiobooks, which is just it's me reading, but then I have like these animated slideshows going down in the background and everything. And so this one series is it's called Stream of Creatives that I'm working on. And so I want to go through like historical creative people and periods. The first one I want to go through is oh, was it on 10 minutes? I did have issues in the past, but we're going to go into the wild route. There we go. Yeah, I left it on before, but Yeah, I turned off follower mode, so anyone can chat. It's now the Wild West of Twitch. But these visual audiobooks I'm trying to do, this one's the Stream of Creatives. And there's a podcast, it only has one episode up, and it's just the introduction. But I wanted it to be different historical eras and everything, and how art has evolved through that. And so a lot of it will be reading source material, but I want to start off with the Renaissance, and that's why I'm editing these Italy negatives. I took these photos in 2009. It was actually part of a school trip. It's for high school I went, and throughout the year in high school. So you start high school and then you're essentially fundraising throughout the whole 4 years to do this class trip to Italy. And so like we would put on like dances and stuff, and sell pizza and all kinds of stuff. I actually picked the school because when I was looking at high schools to go to, like the one day they had I visited for a week, and one of the days they had the samosas, and I'm like, I love samosas. I used to love samosas. Thank you for shouting me out in the Discord. Yeah, I'll check out the link and everything after the stream. I'll follow for sure. But yeah, if it's late, have a good night. I'll see you around. And thanks for being so supportive. This is like my first stream back in a while. So it's always nice to see new people. Thank you. This is a terrible story. So I was saying that throughout the 4 years of high school, each class, does fundraisers and stuff to save up to do this trip to Italy, and it's paid for by ideally it would be paid for by all the events and stuff each high school kind of gets together. So like we would have open night mics where it was just microphone, and people would pay like $10 to come in, and then anyone could perform. School dances and stuff, we charge for that, and then pizza days and everything. But like I don't know what it was, but almost every school I went to, or like high school, elementary school, like the teachers kind of would like gang up on us and be like, this is the worst class ever. And it was very much, I mean, look, I'm back on it. It was kind of like the millennial thing where everyone's yelling at millennials, like, your generation doesn't do this, doesn't do that, blah, blah, blah. And so, like, for middle school, we had these big projects where we do this research thing, and then we had to make like a float, and so it would be like this. It would be like a big, kind of like not just cardboard thing, but it's supposed to be like really well put together, and we'd study a subject, and so like someone would do like the Vietnam War and stuff, and they create clippets and stuff, and it was supposed to be really fancy and stuff. And so my class, when we finally reached 8th grade, they were like, uh, they're like, we can't believe the quality of your class. It's so much lower than everyone else's. And it was like, what? Like, I didn't think it was that bad, but the teachers were having a hissy fit, and they're like, we don't even know how to grade this. We usually don't grade on a curve. And so I thought that was funny. Not funny, but it was just like, I think other people in the class were like horrified because like they were straight A students. So for them to be told that was like a big shocker. But like I've always struggled in school, so it was like at least I passed. And so then in high school, um, oh man, this is another side story, but this is a story of, it's still within the subject of teachers hating you, hating your class. But we had this new teacher come in, and like my the one science teacher that brought him over, and I literally mean brought him over. He was from Germany, and he was teaching over there, and the science teacher was like, "This is such a great person, that we got his visa and everything so he can come teach here." And he was absolutely horrible. And like I said, like I was. It wasn't that I was a terrible student. It was just like I struggled in school, but I liked school and I liked learning. It was just I wasn't good at tests, and I am dyslexic, so reading was always slower for me. Da, da, da. But yeah, so like he would. I went to a Waldorf school, and one of the things with the Waldorf school is that um, you would view the lecture, and then you take your own notes. You don't have a book or anything, and so you have to take the notes from the teacher in class and what they taught you, and then at the end of that section, each class was about 3 or 4 weeks. You would submit this thing called a main lesson book, and so the main lesson book, uh, you essentially make your own textbook. It has to be handwritten. You do all the art and everything for it, and illustrations of like examples. And so kind of the whole point is that you have to practice, you know, creating from the source material. And so this teacher, he was like specially picked. We got him his U.S. visa and everything, and like he was such a bad teacher, and like so he would bring these stacks, just huge amounts every day, and he's like, read this, this is what we're studying. And like it was hard material, and he was like, oh, why didn't you understand it and everything. It was like it was not at the high school level. like appropriate high school level. It was like PhD stuff, and he was trying to give it to 10th and 11th graders. I was in 10th grade, I think, when he showed up. And so then he like he roasted he ended up roasting us cuz like he would give us these pop quizzes to see if we read everything. And like there was no way you could read the whole thing and understand it. Like he would give it one day and then have the test the next day. Like you couldn't read it all overnight without, not doing other homework for other classes. And and anyway, so we do we would try to read it, but we couldn't. And so he would give the test. And he was like, nobody did well on this test. You guys are terrible. Why can't you keep up? Blah, 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 blah. And then he called out my girlfriend at the time. Now, my girlfriend at the time, she was like, she wasn't like, she is very smart. But she was like a straight A student, and her parents worked at the school and everything. And so like everybody in terms of faculty, she was like teacher's pet. And he called her out by name, and she's like, blah blah blah. She got the highest score, but that was only like a 62. Like she was so mad because like, yeah, it's great she got the high score, but she didn't like that he was telling everyone the grade. And so like every class that had him, every level, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, they were like, this guy is like, we don't understand him. I mean, like, not like we didn't understand his accent, but like he's going over this material, we're not understanding it, it's really high level. And then he gives us these packets to read, and it's just like, it's too much to read in one night to get the test. And so then the teachers were like telling us like, oh no, it's your fault, blah blah blah, like to every student in like not just our class, every student. And it ended up, so finally, for some reason, it was like a couple of years, so a year or two passed, and then they're like, okay, we're getting the same complaint still. And so they actually started auditing his class, the other teachers, and they were like, oh my goodness, the students are right. And I was like, oh. Because of course they waited till I was in 12th grade, and that's when they decided that he wasn't teaching at the high school level and it wasn't right what he was doing. And so they got a new teacher, but of course it was after I left. I thought that was funny. So that was another example of like a teacher blasting us. Because yeah, my girlfriend at the time was like not happy. And honestly, I think when he blasted her for having the highest grade and it was like a low grade in the class, I'm pretty sure like she talked to her mom and her mom escalated that through the school. Now that I think about it. But and so then time goes on. I was talking about doing the fundraisers and stuff and everything. And we do the fundraisers. We get to senior year and we're like getting ready to go on the Italy trip. And like, there's senior prank day. I don't know if you guys have that. elsewhere. But like the senior prank day we did, my class kind of, we got senior prank day got it banned, and we rented a bouncy castle and put it in the gym. We filled everybody's lockers with kazoos and stuff, and yeah, and then we did some other stuff that got us in trouble. Um, but so senior prank day happens, and then the teachers come to talk to us, and they're like, we've never thought about this, but we're thinking about canceling the Italy trip. And we were like, what? And so they're like, we just don't know how we can trust you guys, and blah blah blah. So the Italy trip obviously goes on because here are the photos from it. But like it was a good trip. Like nothing scandalous happened. And so it was kind of funny that they were like all worried about us. And I say that because my sister's class, when they went on the Italy trip, like you're not supposed to even, we're like 18, 17, 18 when we go, when you're a senior in high school. And so we're 17, 18, and you're not, you have to stay with the group. You can't drink even though it's legal in Europe and stuff, and you pretty much have to be on your best manners and stuff. And like the way the school's able to afford it is a lot of times we stay with nuns or monks and stuff. So you stay in a monastery and things. And so of course there are rules, like boys have to stay in their section and girls have to stay in their section. It's not surprising. So my sister's class, like they had so many issues where they had people sneaking in alcohol and stuff and drinking and drugs and stuff. And when my sister told me that, I was like, wow. Like they were so worried about my class, and then her class kind of just like they were crazy. And then my other sister's class, this one guy decided to go home like in the middle of the trip because he missed his girlfriend. And I was like, oh. And the joke of it is that like his girlfriend was like somebody in Canada. So it's like that joke, oh yeah, I have a girlfriend, but she's in Canada. And we only talk online, but so I don't know. I think there was like a point where the teachers were used to the kids ahead of us, and then there was like some cultural shift with my class that they really didn't like, and then afterwards they were like, we were way too hard on his class. It got so much worse after them. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. You know what? So, I scanned. We've done this before, and I did it with. I have a Canon scanner, and it's kind of like hard to get one because they don't make it anymore, and it was just like I don't know, it just wasn't very popular. So I used the Canon's software to scan the negatives. Like it has actual negative scanner. You can't just scan negatives on a flatbed because it has to actually shine the light through, and then the flatbed picks up that light versus a regular flatbed, which will shine light up and then kind of get the reflection, so it goes across. With the negative scanner, it shines the light down and then picks up the image that way. But yeah, so I originally did the Canon software, and it allows you to scan as a TIFF. And so the difference between a TIFF and a JPEG is JPEGs are highly compressed. Once you have a JPEG, there's not much editing you can do in terms of color and saturation and color temperature and white balance and everything. So when you're shooting with RAW, like CR2 and everything, with a digital camera, you can change, like, oh, I shot this in auto white balance, but it was actually daylight, so I want to see the white balance for daylight in this photo. And then the other thing with RAW is there's a huge range of colors, and so if you're shooting in RAW, you do have to kind of tone map it and edit the curves and everything to bring it down into more acceptable kind of visual range. But with scanners, it's the same thing. You can scan as like a PDF, but for images and stuff, I do TIFF. And so the Canon driver stuff, so like, oh, it can do 48, I think it's 48-bit. Yeah, it's 48 bits and 16-bit black and white, and that's like the range of like black and white that each pixel can have. So it was like a 16-bit pixel, or if you're doing color, it was 48-bit pixels. And so the more bits, the more range and stuff you get in your thing. But every time I used the Canon scanner, it would only give me 8-bit for black and white, and I was like, this is not what I wanted. And so finally, I went and I bought Silverfast. Uh, Adobe actually recommended it, so I looked it up, and sure enough, it worked with my scanner. And Silverfast not only does DNG, but it does RAW. Not only does TIFF, but it does DNG, which is digital negative, which is RAW. Um, and like, it's so much better. Like the RAWs that it's shooting out, and TIFF. Like it was so much easier to edit these now. And these are huge files. These are about, this is 1 gigapixel. And a gigapixel is 100 megapixels. So the actual scan was 3.5 gigapixels. So that's about 350 gigapixels. And then I edited it in Lightroom and then downscaled it to 100 megapixels. Yeah, so I love Silverfast and everything because it's like I got a whole new scanner. And so I liked it so much that I went and I got this. You can see it's laser soft, but the SRD-X, like, it is really good at finding dust and stuff because of course there's dust on the scanner and everything and the image. And so even though I do clean it with each scan, stuff does get on there. When you're scanning gigapixel stuff, any amount of dust shows up really large in the scans. Trying to find the right setting. It's finding a lot in the bright areas, and that's what I want. Okay, that's the best. It's harder for the program to work, not just because it's, more megapixel it has to process, but if it was a lower resolution, it's easy to figure out what's a speck because it's like a hard cutout in the image of being like a ragged shape. But when they're high resolution like this, the speck has a soft, outline and everything is more defined. So it's hard for the program to figure out what is dust and what is actually meant to be there versus what is detail. My tablet just crashed. I don't know why this clump of dust has to go around the words. It can't be somewhere simple. I mean, back in the day when I first edited these, it would take we'd do like 2 a stream. Now it's so much faster. Okay, I'm gonna be back. I have to plug in my pencil. I'm gonna grab a snack. Okay, I'm back. There's something. I'm in like a desert area, and I don't know what it is. I mean, I do know what it is. But there's a point at night when it goes from being like still kind of warm to like just plummeting to like freezing. And we've hit that point. I like the cold, but I like it to be cold all the time. So I don't like how like when you're in the desert area, you get roasted during the day and then frozen at night. I can't handle that. Like I legitimately might be the only black person that likes winter. Hello, good to see you. Is it Cyronus? How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. We're working on it's medium format negatives, black and white film, from a trip I went to Italy on. That's good, you're doing well. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you're back. The ads have been getting... this is in Italy. This is in Florence. This is... it's a cathedral of Florence. It's also called a Duomo. Yeah, this is from 2009. It's still there, luckily. But, so this is it right here. This is more of it. And what's cool is that, well, it's the architectural significance is how they were able to build this dome up here, because back in the day they didn't have enough tools, and the stone and stuff they were using wouldn't be strong enough to not collapse on itself. So this dude named Brunelleschi, he designed it to where there's actually two domes. There's this outer dome, and then there's an inner dome that holds it up as well. But yeah, these are negatives. These are my negatives. They're about... When I scanned them, they were 350 megapixels, but then I downscaled it to what we're working on now, and it's only 100 megapixels. But yeah, like you can see, we're at 50%, and you can still see the quality. This is 200%, and it starts to blur a little bit, but like right there, when it's digitized, it's still a lot of quality. And that's one of the nice things about shooting with medium format, is like the cameras, you can still hold them, but it's higher resolution than like 35 millimeter and everything. And it's because it's physical, it you can always go back and with like a better scanner get a better image out of it. So the film that I used for this is Kodak T-Max, and the T-Max is important because you can develop the film by yourself. without needing a machine to do it. And then the camera I use is a Hasselblad 500C, and it's an old camera. It came out in 1969, and there's a slightly different version model, and that's the one they used to take photos of Earth on the moon. So it was there with the moon landing and stuff. But the it being medium format, like 35 millimeters, only about like that big. But with medium format, it's a square, so the negative is that big, the frame size. And what's cool about different formats in terms of a negative size is, like, everyone talks about 35 millimeter and having that nice film look and, you know, shallow depth of field and everything. But when you get an even bigger size, like medium format, the baroque and everything is even sharper and more defined. So you'll get things where, like, this is, you know, this looks like it could be like a 28 millimeter or something, and that's kind of what it would be if it was 35 millimeter. But this is actually an 80 millimeter, 80 millimeter lens, and so what would be, you know, more of a telephoto lens on a 35 millimeter camera is actually quite wide. But you still get the depth of field as though it was, you know, a more telephoto lens. Yeah. If you're interested in developing film, you can look up this company called CineStill. Yes. Yeah, it's something like that. But yeah, I develop all my film now at home. What kind of photography do you do? Do you like doing portraits and things like that? Oh, cosplay photography. That's cool. Do you take oh yeah. Those challenges are always great to do. Do you dress up in cosplay and take photos of yourself that way, or do you are you hired by like cosplay models and things like that? Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I used to do a lot of event photography, and then like I would do portraits, but like for people who missed their portraits at like the school photography and stuff. So yeah, I mainly do landscape photography. Landscape and cityscape. And then photo restoration, like this. Yeah, I would like to look at your work. Okay. I'll check out Insta. You can whisper me, like if you have a blog or something, or your whatever links you want to whisper, and I'll check them out after stream. Okay. Rocking the Flickr albums. For your portraits and cosplay stuff, do you have your own studio, or do you like go out to different locations and everything? Okay. What cons do you like to go to? You like Comic-Con and TwitchCon, or? Okay. Anime Expo, okay. Thanks. Yeah, I'll check out your message after stream. Oh, you're a Nikon person. We're gonna have fights. When I'm not doing film, I shoot on Canon. We can still be friends though. Yeah, the M6 Mark II. I recently, well, not recently. It's been over a year now. Yeah, I switched to an R10, which has that same EFM lens mount. I really liked, the DSLR and having the mirror, but my eyes have been getting not good, and so looking through the eyepiece has been becoming more of an issue. And now I love the mirrorless because it has back when I went to film school, uh, the video cameras and stuff, they were Sony's, but they had this thing called ZBreen. And so you could set it to where either the zebras would show, if things were too bright or stuff, it would kind of put like these zebra stripes saying that, yeah, that's right. And what was nice about the mirrorless is that you can now say, okay, do focus assist. So now I can see, what is razor sharp in focus and what isn't. So that's nice. When Sony first kind of showed off their mirrorless camera, I didn't really like it so much because there was a little bit of lag. But nowadays, like, it's almost impossible. Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of times you can't trust autofocus. Like you'll think, oh man, it focused perfectly, and then you get back and you look at the photos. In terms of vintage lenses, well, the Hasselblad, the whole system is vintage. So it's a Carl Zeiss 80 millimeter with a f-stop of 2.8, and like I have an adapter to put it on EF mount, and so I can use it with my 35 millimeter cameras, digital ones. Other than that, not so much a vintage lens. I have a 200 millimeter, and it's like a three with a f-stop of 3.5, and it does pretty well. It's an older one. No. That would be fun to play around with, but I don't know. Film is so expensive that I'd rather do that with a digital camera. Yeah, there's this adapter. If you look on eBay, I ordered it once, and so it's it didn't work out too well. Mainly because it was made for, I think it was made for like a 3/4 system, but it takes any lens and turns it into a tilt shift. Uh, so like you would put your lens on it, and it's like this little kind of ball joint thing, and then yeah, you can tilt shift the lens and everything. But the issue is that because it's pulling the lens farther from the farther from the sensor or the film spot, it kind of turns it into like a tube system, so where you can get tilt shifts, but you can't focus to infinity anymore. Like the farthest you can focus to is like 3 feet away from the camera, and everything else is out of focus. So it's really good for macro shots and doing tilt shift, but it's not good for doing tilt shift, where like if you want to shoot anything that's more than 3 feet away from you, and you want in focus. The last time I went on a shoot, I don't know. I'm like, I do like cityscape photography and stuff, so I'm kind of like, whenever I kind of drive through a city, I'll take photos. It's nothing like really formal, uh, but it's kind of whenever I have free time. So about a week ago, I did a road trip, and so I'm not driving, but I take photos outside the window and everything, and so I actually take a lot of photos that way. But then I do stuff with GoPros and everything mounted to the car, and so I get those videos, and then uh, I call them, doing drive lapse photography, because what I do is I speed it up by blending the frames together. And so that's kind of like the most recent type of shoot that I've done, I guess you could say. But then in terms of like actually going out dedicated for photography, most of the time that's for doing stuff with drones and stuff. And that was in around December 23rd was the last time I actually went out to go droning. But yeah, it's hyperlapse, I guess. Back in my day, they didn't have the hyperlapse term. It's kind of funny. I don't know if you saw it, but it selected everything, all the dust except the stuff that's like a little hair and everything. All the little dust it found, but not the big stuff. Hmm. Well, the problem is that like dust is usually sharp and well defined, and so with this, like you can see, like the dust has there's details and shapes, so the computer doesn't recognize it as it being a speck. It thinks it's like actually something that's supposed to be there. Yeah, it's kind of like a threshold limit, but it's more. See, I use this filter. It's laser soft because the Photoshop one isn't really good. I'll show you. But like, see, like this is what it does to the image. I'll make this bigger. So then we go to noise. So that's the image now, and then with it doing its dust and stuff, that's what it turns into. But then you bring down the threshold to like, okay, it saved some detail, but it's like not that great. And so the problem is, like, you can see it got rid of this dust, but you lose a lot of, like, all the detail there. And so, but you still have that kind of like hair-like thing and stuff, and so you can do that. But yeah, that's why I used to do these all by hand. But when I got this SRD X thing from Silverfast, it really helps speed it up because it goes and gets all the little stuff that it knows for sure, and then it leaves. Oh no, I got rid of my whatever it's called, navigator. And that just leaves me the big stuff, which is easy to find. Yeah, that it is a disadvantage for film because everything has to be processed. Like there's a huge dynamic range and everything, but it's not like you can just shoot and print or digitize. But I like it because the quality is so much higher. And then, like, you're taking a physical kind of capture of the light at the time. And so you can always rescan the image later with either a better scanner or if, a new software comes out. Versus digital, when you shoot it, like, of course you shoot raw, but, you can't, if a software update comes for your camera, it doesn't automatically apply to all the photos you already took. Well, I think we'll end it here. I'm getting pretty tired. Thank everyone for coming out. It's been a nice coming back to stream. See everyone later. Bye-bye.